Broadcasting from the World Conference Center in Bonn, Germany, Solutions Review is on location at the FME User Conference 2023, the peak of data integration. Brought to you by Safe Software and Terra.
Hi, it's Doug Atkinson, and we are back here in Bonn, Germany at the Peak of Data Integration Conference with a guest who's come all the way from Colorado, Jared Bloch, Senior Director of Engineering at Trimble. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really excited to be here in Bonn. This is personally my first time at the user conference for FME, but we're very familiar with SAFE and FME, and been a lot of fun here at the conference.
Yeah, so these conferences are typically a great way to connect with folks. But before we get into kind of what you get out of this, I'd like to start a little higher up and talk a little bit about Trimble and what Trimble's doing with FME, because it really is kind of perfectly suited for getting the maximum benefit out of FME.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Trimble, we've been at this for a number of decades, but we're all about driving productivity, safety on the job site, and how we always talk about connecting the physical and digital world. And so what that means to us is, how do we take things like design that are created by engineers back in the office and deploy those out to the site and make sure that what's being built in the real world matches what was designed by the engineer? And that's all about data. That's data that's coming from the office to the field, but then we also like to get that feedback loop of data from the field back into the office so that we can do those differences and deltas and understand what's being built out there in the field. So it's all about driving the productivity of that data transfer, but also productivity of how things are being built there in the field. So that's what we're trying to do, and why data is so important to us at Trimble.
Well, and this is why I think FME to me is so interesting, is that it does create a digital tool set around a fairly analog, what traditionally would be an analog set of elements, right?
Right.
I mean, you're talking about geospatial elements, but really turning that into digital resources that then can be taken advantage of.
Yeah, the things are much more dynamic than I think we realize they are in the real world, right? So because of that, data needs transformation, and that's where FME really helps us. Is the way data is coming from the office to the field isn't always uniform. So FME helps us massage and manipulate that data in a way that helps us get data to and from, and it helps us deal with some of that dynamism that's out there in the real world. So
yeah, so Trimble's no startup. It's been around for 40 years. You're doing some really serious projects. Talk a little bit about some of the things that get you excited, what you're working on.
Yeah, I mean, what I love about my role within Trimble is I'm part of a platform organization that supports the entire business, and the entire business means some days I'm working in agriculture, some days I'm working in building construction, some days I'm working in transportation, how goods move from one place to another. So our technology really can apply in all of these different places, and what gets me excited is every day it's something new. Love learning about what we're doing in various industries, talking to different customers all the time, and they all have unique data needs, and that's why we're at the center of what we do in those various industries that we serve.
So when you're talking to an end customer, what are you hearing from them with regard to the things that they're looking for? What are they hoping to get in terms of, as this technology evolves? I mean, what is it that they need that really allows them to get that maximum impact?
Resource constraints are obvious across the board.
And has that always been the case, or is that really apex because of COVID?
It feels like an apex right now, certainly, and certainly we know about the supply chain challenges as a result of COVID. So. Especially in transportation and things like that, we're feeling it. Agriculture is really starting to feel it right now. So it's hard to find the right people. It's hard to find trained people. At the same time, we've got workforce that may be aging out, and we've got new people coming into the workforce that need to take advantage of some of this technology. And so while there's these constraints, I think there's also a growing excitement around some of the technology that's coming about. Things, artificial intelligence we're hearing a lot about it here at the conference, but back home and at other conferences, we're hearing about artificial intelligence everywhere, and I don't think it's a fad. I think we're going to be hearing about it for a long time.
Yeah, so we hear about it as well. Obviously, we're covering it, and the stories we hear are really positive about how it's going to be taken. And actually in a presentation a little earlier, we showed how Time Magazine had created this kind of cover with all red that was the end of humanity and how AI was going to basically kill us all, apparently.
Right.
But they're just trying to sell magazines. In the end, it's incredibly powerful, and I think will turn out to be one of the great saving graces for the environment and for resources. Talk a little bit about how you're looking at the AI inflection point we're in right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, with productivity, so on my team, I've got software developers that are looking at AI to help with their development. So we're piloting some things that will help us be more productive from a software development perspective. That's on the Trimble side, but our customers are also going to be able to leverage this to be more productive. And I think that's what's most exciting. So some of the new workforce that's coming in is going to have to be comfortable that more automation is going to take place in their job. And I think most are embracing that. So things like automation of where you're digging, automation of and more productivity around, when we're driving a compactor over a surface, how can we get more productivity out of that with some of the automation that's coming about? So those are the things that we're focused on with our customers, but we're getting a lot of positive feedback that, hey, not only is this helping us with workforce challenges, but it's saving us money at the end of the day because we're digging less or driving the compactor less and things like that.
Well, and isn't that a story I would assume also for the marketing department, where you're able to kind of present the benefits of, in the end, we all need resources and there's certain things that while we may not be 100% happy with, we require, in order to continue to build our societies. So isn't that a kind of a beneficial story to also share with maybe the layman who might not necessarily understand
absolutely
the efficiencies that you're delivering those projects with?
I think at the business level, money talks, and it's obvious. Like, hey, the productivity drives money. But at the individual level, I think people are realizing that more and more our story is also about safety and sustainability, right? So by driving the compactor less, how much savings for carbon savings and things like that are you also giving? So. And I think those types of stories can resonate with the individual sometimes more than than the obvious business impact that's being driven. So.
Well, and I think people should recognize that while projects continue to need to happen, that there are people who are being conscientious about them, and that they're thinking about how not only to create efficiencies internally, but to create a lighter footprint on the environment.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a big thing that we're focused on at Trimble right now is what we're doing to drive sustainability. We say, we've been doing sustainability for 40 years. We've only been talking about it for the last few years.
That's right.
And so I think, trying to show how we've already impacted that footprint in a positive way, incorporating that into our business story, but then also helping our customers tell that story as well, because our customers are interested in this, and our customers are interested in telling their story of how they're participating in these types of things as well.
Yeah. So speaking of participation, you come all the way from Colorado to an event like this in Bonn, Germany, obviously a long trip.
Yep.
What do you get out of a conference like this? I know you got a couple other colleagues here, and I know you're also doing, you're a sponsor, you're also going to be having SAFE come to one of your conferences.
That's right.
What do you get out of these in-person events?
There's a few things. So, first is we're here supporting SAFE Software as a partner with them, right? We've had a relationship with them for over a decade. Trimble has a number of connectors, transformers, and things that we've been providing into their software suite. We've also been a consumer of Safe software for a number of years. So on one hand, this is us supporting them, and then they're going to come support us at Trimble's user conference here in November as well. So that's at the Trimble Safe level. For me personally, I've had less exposure to FME than I would like, and so I've just learned so much this week. So for me, it's been sitting in sessions, talking with people that have used FME for longer than I have, talking about the power of FME, and it's just resonating with me that we've made the right choice to invest in this partnership with Safe, and that's what I'm getting out of it this week.
Yeah, great. Well, Jared, thanks very much for swinging by. We appreciate it. Best of luck with the rest of the year and all the projects you're working with at Trimble.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You bet.
Thank you.